My wife of 10 years was planning on divorcing me, but by the end she proved real love still exists. I'm 30 mem freaking out. I thought we had a happy marriage. We've been married for 6 years and dating for 10. We started dating when I was 20 and she was 23. My wife, 33F, and I have always been very open with each other. We share passwords and have never hidden anything. I was the product of a one-night stand to 2 parents who didn't want me. Neither of them had steady jobs or relationships or really any desire to parent. If I was too much of a burden for my dad, he'd drop me off at my mom's, who wouldn't be home. I'd be locked outside her apartment until she came home at 2 a.m. There'd be nothing in the fridge. School wasn't much better. I was the weird short kid with long greasy hair and 2-day-old clothes, and I was relentlessly bullied. When I was 14, I was finally taken away by my maternal grandparents, who didn't have a relationship with my mom. Though they loved me, they couldn't really take care of me because they were old. We lived in a tiny house stuffed full of useless things. When I was 19, my grandma died. Lung cancer. I think my grandpa died then too. He stopped eating properly. They were deeply in love. I met my wife when my grandpa was dying of heart disease. I was 20 and she was 23. She worked as a consultant and had been working 90+ hours. We met a mutual friend for lunch and he introduced us. After lunch, we ended up spending the whole day and night together just talking. It was amazing. I felt bad because her parents yelled at her for not calling them that night. I asked her out the next day and she said yes. My grandpa died a month later. She helped me with the funeral and came over to help clean the house without me even asking. For the first time, I could actually see the walls of the house I lived in. My mom wanted the inheritance. My grandparents didn't leave any inheritance, just debt, and a house my mom didn't want. She didn't even care about me. My wife got me a lawyer friend to keep my mom away. My mom didn't even care once she found out there was no money. My wife supported me through it all. A few months later, my wife said she was going to her home country for a visit. Her grandmother was sick. The first day she called, and then for a month, there was radio silence. I thought my wife got tired of me, and I hated myself for burdening her. It was a bad spiral. Finally, there was a call, and she asked me if I could help find where she was and how to get to the nearest airport. Her parents had hidden away her passport, and she was sure she was going to be married off. She stole back her U.S. passport. Her job paid for her flight back, even though they had previously fired her for not checking in for 2 weeks. I met her at the airport. She looked so tired. Our next date night, she looked better, but I had a feeling something was wrong. I followed her, and she was going to a women's shelter. Her parents had cleared out her bank account, and she didn't have a place to stay. I told my wife she could live with me at my grandparents' house, and it wasn't a burden. She tried to do all the chores and pay rent at the same time, but I was just happy she was with me. Though it's twisted, I was secretly kind of thrilled that she ran away from the marriage. To me, it felt like she chose me over her parents. Her parents tried to track her down. We got married, and they cut her off for good. Like me, she didn't get much physical affection growing up either. She was expected to get great grades and clean up after everyone because she was a girl. There was physical abuse. Education was a way for her to be more marriageable. That's why they agreed to let her get a job while going to grad school. Once she finished, she would be married off to an older man and be a housewife. She didn't want that. We had to build up our finances from the ground up. My wife likes experts who tell us what to do with our money, our relationship, our house remodeling, because she wants us to be happy. I'm terrified of losing her, that someday she'll realize that she could have something better because I need her so much. People on the thread have told me I'm too clingy, that my wife secretly hate that. Now when I hold on to my wife or rest my head on her chest or lap, I wonder if she's lying that she loves that she's just tolerating me. I talked with my therapist and he told me of some techniques to get my anxiety under control and some techniques for BPD, as he is CBT therapist. I still have my diagnosis coming up in 5 months. My wife loves me and she's not leaving me. When we have disagreements, we get through it together. We've never screamed or yelled at each other. We're in couples and individual therapy, not because of anything wrong with our relationship, but because we want to make sure that we're happy. My wife always says, better prevention than cure. Yesterday, she left her laptop open, and I saw she was looking up New York divorce papers, how to see if someone was cheating, and some subreddits. There were 5 or 6 tabs open. I pretended I didn't see anything, but I went into the bathroom and threw up. I've been shaking with anxiety, and my wife has noticed I haven't left her side. She's asked me if anything was wrong. Readers, I've never cheated and never even thought of cheating. I don't even watch stuff. I don't know how she could think I would betray her like this. If it's the opposite and she's cheating, I don't even know how she would do it, because even if she didn't love me, she doesn't even have the time. I checked her phone and computer, and she doesn't have anything suspicious. There's nothing suggesting even an emotional affair. She's been incredibly affectionate. She loves me and would never hurt me. So it must be me she thinks is cheating. I run a part-time bakery catering business from home, and she works from home for literally 70, 80-hour work weeks and is the breadwinner. We haven't left each other's side, and I love it that way. COVID was actually good for us because we could spend so much time together. My wife wife is the love of my life. I'm in the process of being diagnosed and looking at symptoms online. I'm pretty sure she's my favorite person. FP. It's unhealthy, but she's never complained about me being clingy or overbearing. I don't know why she would want a divorce. I'm afraid to talk to her about it because what if she starts thinking of divorcing me and realizes that she's so much better and deserves so much more and just leaves? I feel like somehow talking about the D word will manifest it and ruin all the happiness I have. I wish I never saw it. Today, she joked that we'd literally melt together because I haven't stopped holding her all morning. I'm afraid that I'll fall asleep and she'll disappear from my life. Edit. I know I need to talk to my wife. This is a vent thread, and as someone who has anxiety and possible BPD, I'm very grateful for the empathetic and actionable comments. My wife and I decided together, after she suggested it, that I should work part-time. I run a catering business from home and do all of the housework. My wife works in a demanding field, and part of the reason for the long hours is all the pro bono work that she does. I'm very proud of her, and though I wish she would cut back on hours for her own health, I would never dream of asking her to quit a job she loves and has a positive impact on. I just want to say I'm very grateful for everyone's love and support. Last night, my wife asked me if anything was wrong. She was finally done with work, so I asked her why she had tabs full of divorce information. It wasn't for a friend or family member or anyone we knew. The divorce tabs were because she recently read a cozy mystery with a divorce-turned-murder plot and thought it was so bad and unrealistic that she could write one better. My wife is an avid reader, me not so much, and likes to read mystery novels, though I secretly think it's because she can complain about them to me. I read some of her story this morning, and my wife's short story is better than most movies, to be honest. I could see her becoming an author when we retire. I struggle with my mental health, and though my wife has been through trauma, she's a stronger person than me. Though I knew logically that she was looking for some reason other than our relationship, mentally and emotionally, my brain was screaming at me that she was going to leave and I was going to lose the love of my life. I have suspected BPD, and my wife is my FP and my soulmate. I know some of my behavior is unhealthy, but it's an uphill struggle. It doesn't help that my wife is the most amazing, selfless, loving person I know.